I was trafficked by the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO and a web of people that are highly connected to Jeffrey Epstein through Les Wexner. And I have a lot more things that I want to share with you. But before I do that, I'm going to ask you to, again, please save this, share this, watch in its entirety, because that's how you can help get this message out there more so that some sort of justice can actually happen, but for many men and women. You being here protects me in some small way because this is scary. There are people with a lot of power that don't want these messages out. And I've been whistleblowing since 2014 on some level about all of this. And I'm grateful that you are finally here and able to hear this in a way that makes it make more sense. So thank you. Before I go into sharing more with you, I want to ask you some questions. And I really want your answers. Like, please leave your answers to these questions. Do you think it's weird that Les Wexner took Jeffrey Epstein, who was just a school teacher, and became Jeffrey Epstein's main client for his money management company from the years of 1987 to 2007? Do you also think it's interesting that Les Wexner gave Jeffrey Epstein really valuable real estate? Do you think it's, I don't know, you tell me the word, that in 1991, Les Wexner made Jeffrey Epstein the power of attorney, which gave him the ability to do a lot of stuff at the hands of one of the richest men in the world? And now this is where it's going to get complicated, and I'm going to ask you to refrain from homophobia. Is it possible that Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein had some sort of romantic or sexual relationship themselves, and that men and boys from the very beginning have also been a part of this in a really twisted way? Another question for you. Do you think that all the limited brands, Abercrombie and Fitch, Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secret, had no idea about any of this? Another question for you. Do you think it's strange that the story I whistleblew to the BBC, which has now been highly documented with a ton of evidence in a documentary, multiple articles, and an ongoing podcast, became public on October 2nd, 2023. The documentary was released on October 6th, 2023. What happened the day after? Is it also strange that less than 3 months later, my TikTok, where I had amassed a following of 2.1 million followers, was permanently banned forever, meaning that my IP address made it so I could never create an account ever again? As I continue to have this conversation with you, I want it to be a conversation, which means you also need to think about some of the puzzle pieces at play. The more that you have information, the more that you can come to a much clearer conclusion. This story deals with power, it deals with leverage, it deals with manipulation, and it deals with a lot of young, vulnerable people, because this didn't just start at one specific moment. It's an ongoing thing that was built way before me and still going on way after me. And I'm grateful that you're here so we can keep having this conversation so that we can actually make change. And if you are new here, I'd like to welcome you to our love army. Much love, y'all. I was trafficked by the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO and a web of people who were enabled at the very top from Les Wexner, who also had enabled Jeffrey Epstein. And I want to share some important details with you. So please save this, share this, watch it in its entirety so that I can help you understand more of the puzzle pieces of how all of this works. I have sat with what I'm about to show you for about an hour, and I have been enraged for that hour. And beyond the anger is hurt and sadness.
You know, the women on TV right now were college aged, paid for sex, traveling the world actually on these yachts and private planes. And they've made millions of dollars from the Epstein fund, but now vamped as victims of rape. So to try and translate that for the American public is not a popular opinion.
This whole conversation is giving me this.
Grape is bad for certain people.
No.
For certain people.
No, it's bad for everyone.
No, it's only bad for certain people. Here,
Andrew.
like there's women, you agree,
No.
who have orgasmed during SA.
That has nothing to do with
Bro.
I'm going to use my own trauma to make a point. I was 19 the first time that I was sexually assaulted on my very first photo shoot by someone who is a known predator. I was a signed model. I was at NYU. Does this all mean that I was not a victim? Are you really telling us that because someone is college age, that they can't be groomed, manipulated, leveraged, and trafficked? This sounds a lot like you can't be raped because you're married. But here's another fun fact, because this is also something that I don't like to talk about, but I'm going to use my own story to prove the point. My family was evicted from all 4 homes that I grew up in. My parents to this day are not financially secure. There was never a safe space for me to figure out and protect myself, which made me even more vulnerable to the vultures and predators that flow through the modeling industry and entertainment industry, which is incredibly linked to what is going on through the entire case with Epstein and all the elite attached to him. I am deeply grateful that I have found different spaces to heal. And one of the things that I have come to understand more than anything is the leverage. I was not out when all of this happened to me, and my sexuality was used against me as a piece of leverage to keep me quiet and silenced. The financial abuse that is done in the modeling industry specifically is systemic, intentional, and constant, so that you are trapped. And if you are lucky enough to leave the industry, often with debt. I can still remember the first time that someone said, "You are a victim, you are a survivor," and I instantly broke down because I had never allowed myself to not blame myself. All you are doing is encouraging people who have been harmed, abused, and violated to continue to blame themselves and minimize what has happened to them. And that is why you, specifically on this crazy campaign to protect and uplift predators, are such a danger and threat, because all you're doing right now is harming survivors, and many of whom are in your own community, from seeking actual healing journeys and finding peace within their own lives. I was trafficked by the former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO and a web of people, and I didn't think I was going to get to make this video. But as of today, the prison officials have declared that the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch is fit to stand trial in a criminal case, meaning that he might actually have to face the repercussions of his actions. And as the whistleblower of this entire thing, I'm just really overwhelmed, because I didn't think this was going to happen. And I've learned to stop getting my hopes up, because expectations often lead to disappointment. And this isn't just for me, this is for every survivor. I just don't want this to happen to anyone else. That's why I speak up. And I'm so incredibly grateful that people are involved and engaged in this conversation, because as a man, it's felt very isolating and lonely. And I've been pushing for positive change for a really long time. And I'm just really overwhelmed at the fact that my little voice has carried so far, and that I'm getting to do this for younger me, who thought this would be something I sat with forever and just blamed myself for. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our love army. I was trafficked by the former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO and a web of people, and I have some updates for you. Please save this, share this, and watch it in its entirety. That's how we get more eyes on this, and I truly believe that y'all's interest in this has helped things move in a direction that I did not see coming. Something else that I want you to continue to think about is how this all links back to the Epstein files, and the fact that it's now 2026, and we still haven't gotten answers to why the files were redacted the way that they were, and there's a very big reason why we're watching the chaos happen throughout this country right now, because it is a great distraction from watching real accountability happen across the political spectrum. This is not about Republican or Democrat, MAGA, or whatever. This is about accountability. And I believe that a lot of the politicians who are currently at play with this do not want you to know they harmed young women, but also young men, because that is 1000% a part of what they are trying to hide. Another big piece of news is that Les Wexner, the reason why I am able to connect what happened to me to the Epstein files, was finally subpoenaed and is going to have to face some sort of questioning about his link to all of this. That's a really big deal. This person's very rich and very powerful and basically runs Ohio. Please look him up. Back to the update regarding my own specific stuff. I keep specifically saying, and a web of people, and I want you to hold on to that. Please just keep that in the back of your mind. Now for the biggest update, it looks like in the end of March, which is interesting because that's my birthday month, we're going to finally have the final moment where the judge in this trial will say whether or not the former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO is mentally fit to stand trial in a criminal case, which now we've heard the prison officials believe he is. That means that everything that we've heard up until this point about him not being fit mentally could very much have been a ploy for him to escape accountability, as we've watched with many of these men, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, etc. Your interest in this, that you're pushing in this, has helped people re-examine things that in the past have not been examined in this way. So thank you. Once that's done, it looks like there's going to finally be a trial after over 5 years of doing this in October of this year. And that just means it's the beginning. Doesn't mean it's going to come to an end. And this is the last thing that I want to have that conversation with you about. For anyone who's looking to find justice for themselves and ultimately for other people, because that's what this is about for me. I can't go back and take what happened to me away, but I can help prevent this from happening to other young women and men, is that it takes a long time and it wears at you and it up your work, up your communities, up the way that you are able to move in this world. There's this expectation to have a perfect victim or a perfect survivor, and that just doesn't exist. And I never thought that I'd get to sit on any kind of platform and have people care about this. The way that y'all have showed up it's healing. So thank you. And I hope other survivors see this and know that what is done in the dark will always come to the light. If you are new here, welcome to our love army, where we are fighting for a better world for everyone. Much love, y'all.